Roundup. I'm here in North Carolina with Jay Connor's team at the Cash Flow Conference, and I just wanted to bring you in so you can see what houses we're looking at today. Here's a bus. Actually, we've got two buses, and I'll show you. Oh, Jay's wife.
Hey, everybody.
We got Chappie and Scott here too.
What's up?
And we have, don't walk over there. It looks like some horses have been pooing. So what I'm gonna do here is take you through the house, my Roundup family, my real estate Roundup family, because I love you. So here's the house. Jay's bringing us live to one of his properties. Let's see what it looks like. Stupid thing. Don't forget to smash that like button for your boy. Slash the like button for me, if you don't mind. Oh man, he got some high-tech stuff. So Jay is here teaching.
So my crew's got
Come
something
by.
that will fill in the cracks. And by the time
This
they
is
paint
super
it,
nice.
you can't tell. We'll ask Chris. I don't know what it is. That's cool.
Oh no.
But that's a small
Where is your bedroom?
This is a nice nice utility closet. Steph, this is a nice utility room here. This is Steph Hanshaw. We'll see him on the channel. Yes, we'll see him on the channel soon. Steph is closing an unbelievable subject to deal now. I cannot wait to have you. Promise me you're gonna come on.
I promise.
All right. This man is doing a deal now. It's gonna blow your mind. Thank you, Steph. Virginia in the house. What's he doing? Huh? I would maybe turn this into a bathroom back here, maybe. That's the bathroom. It's a big old room. Nice. It's a big old room, isn't it? Go in. So you're gonna see exactly what we see today. We'll walk through the house with Jay. How you doing? What is going through these cabinets? Yes, somebody will see the deal background. Jay's going to go over these numbers here in a little while. He's going to go over now. I'll have the camera rolling.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, you're going to go over the numbers a little bit. Wasn't here first time.
Go over numbers.
Yeah, so Jay's going to go over all the numbers for us here. Okay. Hey, Greg.
Hey.
Crystal.
We're still discussing that.
Smells like fresh paint. The man. Are y'all having to do full renovations out there?
Yeah,
And,
well, not full, but kind of cosmetic.
And we'll let my family know where you at.
Washington State, southeastern Washington State.
Southeast Washington, not Seattle.
That's right. Not Washington, D.C.
So this bathroom is going to need a little bit of love. But looks like he's keeping the vanity though. Dennis, what do you think about keeping that vanity? Jay gets away with murder down here in Morehead City. He gets away with murder, dude. I wouldn't be able to sell it if I had that vanity. But he can do that. It all depends on your market, right?
Almost the entire time we've been doing it.
And this is a master now.
This is, I guess, basic starter home.
This is so small.
This is a nice sized bedroom here.
For a master?
All depends on what you're looking for. I don't know. She thought it was small, yo. I thought it was pretty good size. I thought it was a pretty good size. Let's see, here's the bathroom. Man, I'm not mad at this at all. For affordable housing roundup. Double vanity. Huh?
No, I'm sorry, I was saying, wow, this is just nothing special about this house.
Nothing special. You make good money, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What market are you?
I wouldn't believe this was sold for 205 when I was thought.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 205. I was like,
205.
wow.
For purchase price. That's right, 205.
Yeah, because this is about 130, 140.
Crystal, what do you think about keeping those? Jay can get away with stuff that I don't think I can get away with.
Jake's ready to start. Keep what?
Keeping the vanities. I don't think we can do that no more.
Come on down to the price is
He
right.
gets away with stuff I can't get away with.
No, no, you.
All right, there we go. Okay, so I promised y'all this morning, y'all were gonna get to meet my crew leader, Chris Burnett. He's here with us today, and he's in charge of this project. So everybody say, hey, Chris! Hey, Chris! Everybody. So Chris, do you remember the year we started working together? It's been more than 10 years.
Yeah, we're probably going on 12-ish now, something like that.
Yep. So Chris is typically with us on the panel discussion tomorrow morning, but he's gonna be on an airplane tomorrow, flying to judge it. He's an internationally known surfing judge, if you want to know what he does on the side as well. So he's going off to judge a surfing contest tomorrow,
Nice.
so he won't be listening to the panel discussion. But anyway, Chris, the way we work together, and I'll talk more about it tomorrow morning, but the way we work together is different than the way I work with my general contractor, Tom, who you will meet at the second home. Chris is going to be with us on the third home, so he'll swing around and meet us back there. But the way we work together is Chris has got a crew of 6. Is it still 6? He's got a crew of 6. That crew of 6 typically can be rehabbing 2 homes simultaneously. If we're doing, just primarily, cosmetic, well, y'all are still working on Chateau Satan. But anyway, I have this house I named Chateau Satan because it's the house that just keeps on taking. But anyway, typically we'd be doing 2 houses simultaneously. I can have Tom, my contractor, doing 1 or 2 houses simultaneously as well. So the way I've got it set up on the rehab side of the business, we can be doing 4 houses at one time. So as I mentioned before we got on the bus tour and came here, I would not be here during this process. I told him, Beth, that I learned the hard way, and I told him, Chris, that way back years ago when I kept showing up all the time, every time I show up it cost me more money, right? So I stay out of the way to let them do what they do best, and I go off and do what I do best. What I do best is not rehabbing houses. One of the things I do best is approving budgets. Because what makes the decision on every project? The math. The math makes the decision, right? So another reason that I stay away and I don't come back into a house that was totally finished is because, as Beth has heard me say time and time again, I like the wow effect, right? So not all the houses, but most of the houses I see before we actually start the rehab project. If I'm in town, I'll see the project before we actually, put an offer. If I'm out of town, the team does it. In fact, I just made an offer on a house in Beaufort, back where the event is. Made an offer on that house yesterday, the house in Beaufort near the courthouse. That's the inheritance property. I haven't seen the house. I haven't seen pictures of the house. I haven't seen the inside of the house. But Chris has seen the house. My realtor has seen the house, and again, what makes the decision? The math.
The numbers.
So I took the numbers from Chris, my realtor, Chris, my crew leader. He did the renovation budget, right? Gave me those and made the offer. Now there's a big lesson I want you to hear right now that's got nothing to do with rehab, but it's got everything to do with being successful as a real estate investor. Here's the big lesson. You never know what a owner or seller of a property is going to accept until you make the offer. They don't even know. They may think they know what they're going to do or not do, or they may say, I'm not taking a penny less than X to Kim, my acquisitions. By the way, you're going to meet Kim tomorrow morning, and Kim is Chris's wife. So we're keeping it all in the family, right? But here's the lesson I want you to learn. This house that I'm telling you about, that Chris is going to, now Beth will get involved once the offer is accepted and we've closed. All right? She gets involved sometimes even before then, but that's out of the ordinary. Typically, Beth's not involved until we've actually closed on the property. So here's the lesson. This house that I'm telling you about, we found this house through internet marketing, SEO. People were just, no, it wasn't. It was my probate system. One of the heirs, there's 9 heirs of this house. 9 heirs. And so one of the heirs got my probate letter that I mail out. That's one of the ways that we get consistent sale leads. They responded to the letter. The house was listed in the multiple listing service for $250,000. Okay? The after repaired value, according to Chris Latham, is $230,000. And it needs renovation, right? $22,000 was his budget. So anyway, one of the heirs told his wife Kim, my acquisitionist, that they would not take a penny less than, they were somewhere around $200,000. And I said, I'm interested in this house anyway. So I was out of town. Chris goes and looks. Chris Realtor goes. He's already determined his after repair value. They go and look. He texts me to my phone a copy of the budget sheet that's $22,000. Murphy lives in every house, right? Say yes.
Yes.
So I upped that to 25 or 27,000, maybe 30,000. I don't know. And so I got back with his wife Kim, and I said, make the offer $110,000. It's in mobile listing service for $250. They're not taking a penny less than $200. So I'm going to teach you my formula as to how I come up with my maximum offer. So I didn't make a maximum offer up front. I just made the all cash, and I said I'd close in how many days? 7 days, right? So they canceled the multiple listing before we went and looked at it. My acquisitionist says, oh, they'd already told her we can cancel it at any time. So they canceled the listing. That's when we went and looked, and you got the figures. So Kim made him the offer over the phone, $110,000. They just canceled the listing at $250. They won't take a penny less than around $200,000. So in less than 24 hours, they came back and they said, we're not going to sell unless you pay $120,000.
Wow.
So I took that to the committee. And I got back with Kim. I told Kim on the same, we have fast committee, right? So on the phone, I texted right back to Kim and I said, tell them that you have talked me into it. And so we're now on contract to close that deal, right? So the lesson there is, you know, I've never bought a house unless I made an offer.
Yep.
Right? So make the offer. Make the what? Make the offer. And Kim, his wife, Kim and I, we've had fun for many, many years. And one particular house I recall, she says, Jay, they'll never accept the offer. Now this was in the beginning days. They'll never accept that. They told me they wouldn't take a penny less than X. I said, we don't know that. But also when you make the offer, you got to justify your offer. You got to what's your offer? Justify the offer. We tell our sellers how we came up with the numbers. We just don't pull a number out of the air. And do you think real estate investors get a bad rap sometimes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you've heard me talk about this whole philosophy and framing of serving, right? So we justify the offer and we tell them exactly how we came up with the offer. We tell them, here's the offer, here's the renovation budget, here's my spread, here's the profit I've got to make, and I have no idea how long I got to pay carrying costs. And so we tell them exactly how we came up with the offer, right? So let's talk about this house. So this house is the second time I got it back. So where's Paul? Paul. Where's Paul? So, not Paul. So, you did recognize my floor. We did that floor.
Oh, there you go.
Back when, right? And so, we sold this on rent to own, right? And got a large non-refundable lease option deposit. And so, these people that moved out are in the 20% that did not cash out. So, you do know on most rent to own sales, they're not going to cash out, right? Unless you require the credit repair. My philosophy, you're going to be talking more about, is helping somebody cash out, right? But these people, unfortunately, lost a job and didn't have the money, so they just recently moved out. So this garage floor, I don't know if you're going to have to redo it or not.
It's kind of hard to say because of where they built that wall in there.
Right. So they made a fourth bedroom out of part of the garage. And so Chris and crew have taken it down. So anyway, Beth, you came in and, well, first of all, let's talk about this since you all are not going to be on, since Chris is not going to be on the panel tomorrow. How do you all work together? Who What's the flow? We get a house, and then how do you all communicate with each other?
So
Since
we
I'm
get
totally out of the way.
We get a house, you know, Jay will typically call me, hey, Chris, so this one, hey, Chris, we got this house back, go have a look at it, see what we're gonna have to do to bring it back up to our standards for us to sell it. Come in, look at it, that's typically when I'll call Beth, and this is for any project. As soon as Jay gives me the go-ahead, I'll call Beth, Beth will come in and we'll start discussing paint colors, flooring colors, you know, any kind of, if we're gonna do any kind of moving, any kind of walls or anything like that. So typically Beth and I will communicate pretty much through the whole project. At the beginning for colors and whatnot, we do all the staging furniture at the end. I'll call Beth, hey Beth, we're gonna be done in, you know, a week, start thinking about your staging furniture. We'll all meet at the store. We have 3 storage units full of staging furniture. We'll meet at the storage unit, throw it all in the truck, and leave Beth with one of the guys to help her put it together. And
Hey,
so,
if Carol Jo and I ever get out of this business, we're gonna have one whale of a yard sale.
so and we'll talk about, you know, colors and flooring and, you know, cabinets and this and that. And typically if Beth and I come up with any ideas that are not on the renovation sheet that I gave to Jay when he was buying the house, you know, then we'll call Jay and, you know, hey, Beth suggested this, or Chris Latham even has suggestions, and just, you know, kind of work out the deal, you know, well, how much is it gonna cost, kind of go from there.
Right. So Beth, when you came into this house, I mean, this is a bread and butter house, okay? Somebody's phone's going off,
Right here.
just in case you didn't know. Okay. So, Beth, you came into this house, and what's your thought process?
Well, today,
What's your decision-making process?
okay, with this one, I had staged it before, and Chris and I talked about this one, I think, at the end of last week or first of this week. And in this house, we're using the same paint. I'm only picking out the flooring. So my mind goes to what is actually in the storage units right now. And we're kind of down to not a lot, but luckily, I think we have something closing soon.
2.
Okay,
Well, 1 that you'll get staged.
right. that-
Kingsway.
Kingsway.
Oh, they got pushed
Well,
down to the next week.
Fortunately, if all goes well, everything at that house will be perfect in here. The sofa is a blue and white swirl, contemporary cotton print, so, you know, that'll be easy for me with leaving the blue paint. And by the way, this one was painted before we kind of made the shift over into the grays. And you know, it doesn't have to be gray to still be Vogue or in or up to date. Your furnishings can control that very nicely, especially with area rugs. So, I hope that will work out that way.
Beth, I'm sorry, are you saying the kitchen was blue before?
Initially, these were the original that we did. I mean,
Right.
the first time it was renovated, these were the colors then. So,
I've never seen a blue kitchen, that's why I was just curious.
You're
really,
talking about blue walls or blue cabinets?
Blue walls.
he's speaking of the walls that are.
Because now blue cabinets are in.
Yes, yes, they are, especially navies.
Yeah.
So, how long ago was this the first time we were in?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay, so you have to visualize that 2 years ago, this is what we did. And I went through a cycle of using one color, living room, bedrooms, hall, just using a color in the bathrooms, and then occasionally doing a color in a kitchen. But I have to say that a lot of times it is really, my decision making is based on what we have in storage. You just have to be careful that what you have in storage continues to be updated and, you know, vogue enough that you're not falling by the wayside. So, I'm happy to see that should work here. Now, I don't know that I have area rugs in storage, and I know where we're getting the furnishing has carpet all over. So this might give me the opportunity to shop.
Ain't happy about that.
And in so doing, I will go directly to very contemporary, upbeat maybe even primary beach colors, you know, to pull it off and make this wall really make sense.
And one thing that comes to mind is, you've done a lot, I don't know if you're doing it anymore now, but there for a while you did a lot of colors in the kitchen and even in the living room. You would do like these pastel sages, I call them
Right.
sage,
Right.
and yellows, like
Yes.
pastel yellows. And when you first started doing it, of course, I trust Beth, she knows what she's doing. But when I was going, how is other people's furnishings going to go with these more specific colors? But they were neutral enough that they did work.
Right.
So the point I'm wanting to make is that when you are rehabbing, you don't want it to be like vanilla plain, right? But at the same time, you want to have it done working with a contractor or someone like Beth that knows colors well enough that can also be neutral enough to go to whoever's going to be buying the home.
Right. And also, I'm thinking back initially when we did this, one of the first things I do is ride the street and look at door colors, shutter colors, exterior colors. And I know that initially that door was blue. So with the staging that we had then, you outside, everything here was like earth tones, tans and browns. So I used the blue as sort of an accent upbeat. So when you open the front door, which was blue, it was an introduction to the furnishings inside. So at that time, all of this really made sense. So what I have to do now is make it make sense again, but not with the grays, but more with the tans, but get that upbeat back in it to keep it current. But
Chris, I'm sorry. go
oh,
ahead.
but just the same thing that when I ride up and down the street, I want the house I'm working on to have that wow factor. And not every front door same color.
So when you're driving up and down the street, what are you looking for?
The color of the home, the other homes on either side, across the street, up the way, the shutters, the doors, so that people, so that Jay could say to someone, turn down the street and it's the only house with the red door, or the only house with the yellow door.
Whatever, yeah. Only house with
Yeah,
whatever.
and Jay was speaking of the sage green and the yellows. Let's see, yesterday, I think it was, I went to a house that we have over on Emmeline Place, the one what do you call it?
Chateau Savings.
Yeah, well, I finally got the nerve to return, because the first time I went, it was so depressing, it was, oh gosh. So, returning, it is like new construction, it was uplifting. And when I went in, I thought, I do want to stick with gray, but I thought, I've got to tell Chris I'm gonna use gray again, he'll be bored. But all of a sudden, I thought, you know, I think I'll do the kitchen a pale yellow and use grays and yellows and maybe accent with red or
So
green
you're
or something.
painting it that color, or the cabinet's gonna be that color?
The cabinets, I think, will be white. Now,
Okay.
Chris has found that Lowe's here now has a gray cabinet.
Mm.
So I've gotta have some thought process. I'd like to switch to gray, but I've got to get that thought process going with not everything gray in the kitchen.
If you do
cabinets.
gray cabinets, what are you gonna do on the floor?
Well, there, everything we're doing there is the.
It's gonna be LVP.
Yeah.
So Chris, tell them about what is the LVP flooring that you're using? Stands for luxury vinyl plank.
Yeah, it's basically, you know, they have the floating floors like the Pergos with, you know, the engineered floors, and the LVPs are just a step up from that. It's all still a floating floor. It's actually a lot easier to work with and a lot more, you know, the old Pergo floors, you get them wet, they swell. They, you know, they get dinged up, dogs scratching. This LVP stuff is pretty much, you can drop a bowling ball on it and it's not gonna dent it. You can flood the house and it's still fine. You know, you can take a piece of that stuff and throw it in a 5-gallon bucket of water for a year. Take it out and throw it on the floor and use it. You know, it's just a whole lot better product, easier to work with. A little more expensive than the old Pergos. You know, the Pergos we were getting for what, $1.50, $2 a foot. This stuff is up to like $2.50, $3, maybe even a little bit more, but well worth it.
Yeah.
What's it
Now,
called again?
Excuse me?
It's luxury vinyl tile.
Okay, left your brown south on VT.
Okay.
He said, what's it called?
Chris, you got around your family that are streaming, and you want me to review real quick the numbers on this house? So the numbers on this house, we purchased it for 1,045. This is a light renovation here at 21 and a half. The after repair value is 205. Projected profit 78,000. Now, I told my boss I want to tell everybody, and Chris, Crystal, did you go over the other items that are not in this? Good. So everybody remember, on these sheets, you got, if you're gonna sell in the middle listing service, you gotta deduct realtor's commissions.
Realtor fees,
And
y'all.
you gotta deduct all carrying costs. I don't have any carrying costs on here because I don't know how long I'm gonna carry it, right? I don't know if a rent-to-own buyer is gonna buy it. I don't know how big of a non-refundable option fee I'm gonna get. I don't know if it's gonna go to the MLS. But I put down all the numbers that we, know that we anticipate. So questions for Beth, and unless you all have something else burning you wanna share before we go
Now,
to
someone
Q&A.
on the bus though asked about the flooring, and I can't think, I don't know if they said snap, anyway, was that question answered?
They went up to blue down or snap.
Well,
And
Dennis did.
so the LVP basically, it just snaps together just like the Pergos. I try not to use the glue down floors. Even like when we do roll goods like linoleums, we use the no glue with that. It's a little thicker, feels better on your feet, and it's just, from a construction point of view, the faster I can do it, the better. So no glue, I can roll it out, cut it size, put some shoe mold around it. and done.
Cabinet doors from the managers.
Say Gail.
So I can get a better handle on what I ought to be paying somebody to do what you're doing for Jay. Labor's not included on this, so.
It's in all those. Labor and material is on every line item. Now, it's not separated,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, like, for example, the reason the carpet is so low on here, so that's just going in the bedrooms.
Okay, round-uppers, my real estate homies. This has been really nice to be able to hang out with you and share with you my crazy world as my wife is home pregnant and my daughter just called sick, so I'm on the way back to Hampton now. I won't be able to stay down here in North Carolina, but thank you guys for all your prayers. Oh yeah, and my chicken homies out there. My chicken homies is out there chilling, clucking, having a good time. Chicken's clucking. Is that I don't know. So give me a thumbs up. Here's the exterior of the property roundup. Wanted to share with you. I am in North Carolina with Jay Connor one more again with one of my mentors. It's just an honor just to keep, I know people keep asking me, you go to training, you've been doing this forever. Always need continuing education, rounduppers. Always need continuing education. Let me look at this. Let's just see this house. This thing keep coming out. There it is. Let's see. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to ask Jay. Since we are live, we can ask him. Redo this deck too. Looks like. No doubt. Did he say he's gonna redo this deck, Greg? I don't know. It looks like he might clean it. Doesn't look like he's doing the roof. I don't know where we're at. Morehead City. It's got a huge backyard. I'll take you around front. See if I can show you. Neighborhood is crazy too. Very nice. Somebody's been pooping in the yard up there though. This is some of the big. Look, my shoe. This poo is big as my shoe. Poo big as your shoe. Damn. Whew. This is the front of the yard. Front house. Brick in the front. Got a 2-car garage too. This one sells for. I bought it 104. Looks like it's selling for 205.
The cabinets are still in good shape. And really, I mean, that's about it. The doors and everything are still in good shape. When we came into this one the second time, it's just kind of lipstick, really, other than a roof.
And typically, we're always putting in new light fixtures, but you're going to save most of these, aren't you?
Well, yeah, we're saving all of them.
Clean them up.
And these are the ones that we installed the first time a couple years ago. Yeah, they're 2 years old. They're just dirty. Yeah, we already bought them.
You got equity right here, right from last time.
Yeah.
Carol?
Two things actually, since you brought up the light fixtures and even the faucets and things, I noticed that the bronzing tones, is that pretty much what you're trying to stick with since you're doing the grays or the beiges?
We kind of switch back and
Can you
forth.
repeat that?
Repeat the question.
She's asking about the light fixtures being the oil rub bronze, and she was asking if we kind of stick with those for the tones of the paint. Beth kind of picks those based on the house. The oil rub bronze is a little more expensive than the satin nickel. Usually we'll do one or the other. It just kind of depends on the house, the neighborhood, and the colors we're going with.
And the other question I had, I think it's part of what we got on the LVP, you mentioned on the bus, some of it has grays and browns mixed. I mean, I've seen like oak look versus the gray, totally gray. Is it better to just go with a mixed type blank?
Well, that's kind of the
So we need to
blend.
repeat the question for everybody.
Sorry, she was asking about, on our bus, I was asking about the flooring, and the last house we did, the flooring is gray, but it just has a touch or brush in it of the brown, not a lot. It's easy still to paint with gray, nothing wrong with that. But if you, it allows you to open up and have both, especially if you have a lot of furniture that's dark wood, it really enhances that. So we're kind of in a transition with that right now. I'm actually thinking about putting that in here as well. And they've just come out with that option. So before, you didn't have the option. You were either gray or in the brown.
If you tend to go lighter or more very neutral rather than anything super dark on the floor.
I think that depends on the home. Some of the ones that we have acquired have actually had wood flooring in it and was dark.
We did do, before we got into the LVPs, we've done a couple of, like the old Pergo, like the snap and lock doors. A couple of those were pretty dark that we did. Now this new LVP that she picked that we just did on the last house, it's actually, so a lot of times you'll get flooring, you say, I'm picking the brown flooring. Every single box you get is pretty much the same color. This last color that she picked, it's all called whatever gray, but there's actually like 4 different shades of it, so you kind of got to mix it up as you're, you can't just lay one box and then lay another box. You're going to have big blobs of the same color, so you got to mix it all up. And it actually turned out really nice. It was really cool.
Which house was that?
It's Rumble. You haven't seen it yet.
Oh, that's right, I haven't seen that.
Wow factor.
I told the truth,
I
right?
would like to do that, but I'm just too
Close.
scared.
That, now, okay.
How about you, Steph?
And Stuart, you were.
I've never
three
done
and
that
then 4 in the
before.
back of the-
I've never done that before.
Me neither, I'm just scared. I like to get like that.
Your departed Mr. O customer, what was the option price? How much was the option fee? What was the monthly payment exclusive of cashless?
So Stuart's asking, what was the deal I had with the previous owner, and Carol Joy had to pull the paperwork. I don't remember. So it was
Good.
288 Cottontail, so if you're,
Year rent first,
huh?
they paid for a year to be there, and they were gonna take a couple of years, and then the hurricane came along, and they couldn't ever recover financially from his job.
Right,
Both
so
sons, but they just couldn't close out.
it may not work out this week, but if you're at the office, all we have to do is just pull a copy of the lease agreement, and I can tell everybody at the event. Yeah.
Actually, I want to know what you did there and why you did
Okay, excellent. And then we're back over there.
it. So why not finish electrical? Why not switch switches and outlets?
Switches and outlets, they will be.
They will be, okay.
Yeah.
That was a good question. He asked every year, are we switching out the switches and outlets? And the answer is yes. All that'll be switched out. Somebody was-
Yeah.
Over here, Patrick.
I have a question about paneling. My wife and I are renovating a home right now, and it's wood paneling throughout the entire home, covered in wallpaper. So we're trying to say, should we just tear all this out, go back with drywall the entire house, or is there something that we can do to really minimize our reno budget by doing something with this paneling?
So let me repeat the question so everybody can hear. So the question is, he's in the midst of a rehab and there's paneling throughout the house. It's got wallpaper on top of it. And does he have any choice other than drywalling or sheetrocking it? So there's really two ways to answer that. You can answer his question, it's got the wallpaper, and then you can tell him what you also have done in the past with the filling in the cracks and.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, depending on the house and your neighbor, so we did one house, it was basically like a modular home, kind of a lower end home that had paneling in it, in a few of the rooms. So instead of drywalling over it, we just took sheetrock mud, filled in all the cracks, and then just painted over it. Since you've got wallpaper on top of it too, you're kind of in a bad spot with that. I would suggest, instead of tearing it out, save yourself that labor and just use like 1/4 inch drywall and hang right over it.
Well, we got time for maybe one or two more. So there's one, and then James, and then Elaine. Well, Elaine, we'll come back around. Since Carol said we- So we'll go Elaine, and then James and Carol.
So we really haven't talked anything about the bathrooms. What do you normally do about the bathrooms? What about the floors, if there's tile there? The tile's in good shape, but it's outdated. What do you do with that? Do you resurface any tubs?
We
Talk about all
do
the bathrooms.
resurface tubs. We've actually had discussion on this one, whether or not we're going to do these. We have a tub guy, he's been a little difficult to get up with, but he typically charges us like $4 1/4 to resurface them.
All of them or each?
Each, yeah, it's $4.25 to resurface.
And they look brand
new. Typically, we'll change out the toilets. You know, Lowe's has a really good deal on a whole set. It's like $105 for a brand new toilet.
Yeah.
These bathrooms here, we're actually gonna paint the vanities. That's why this is all out. We're gonna paint them white. These bathrooms will get LVP flooring.
And
Same as here.
And I actually would have gone back probably with a new vanity. Is this the one that wouldn't fit?
Well, yeah, these vanities here were actually custom built.
Corner.
And so you can't go to Lowe's and get that size vanity. You know, so we'd have to custom build one again, so we just decided we're gonna paint them.
Do you ever paint the tiles? Because I have a property, and you know, the tile's in good shape, but it's outdated.
Never painted tile.
What do you do with the tile?
If there's tile in there that we don't like, we're gonna snatch it and put new tile.
Yeah. James was next.
Have you ever been in a situation where it worked out to sell property with stage furniture still?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lose the sale of a property if somebody's in love with a rug, but seldom do they, unless it's my $100,000 rug. But seldom.
$1 million mirror.
Or my $1 million mirror. But anyway, seldom do they ever ask for anything, because they got their own stuff. Sure. They got their own stuff. Carol?
Actually, two things. Do you, on this sink right here in the kitchen, it looks fairly dirty, is that something that you can resurface, that kind of thing? I'm just not sure.
I'm sure it could be resurfaced. The same guy, the tub guy, could probably do that. I've actually been working on Chateau Satan, so I don't recall what the sink looks like, but we've actually got some people that can clean that stuff really well.
What kind of products do you use to resurface?
What kind of products? I don't know. I know it smells really bad, and he runs inside of the house whenever he does it.
On the deck out here, and then we have used, like the new, like store stuff, and over everything, whatever. We clean it first, and we just fill it out. We can do something like that at the house, like that, and just pull it up.
I'll give you.
Okay, so the question,
I'll give you one more shot of the two bathrooms. So this is in case you missed it at the beginning. You'll see what the bathrooms look like. It looks like we've got some squatters in the bathrooms.
Well, I've never heard of resurfacing that. Typically, what we would do is pressure wash it, replace it, kind of.
Better to squat here than on the toilet.
Sometimes, you know, we'll do like the, we'll get a tinted like water sealer and paint it with it.
Have you ever kept a vanity before, Chaffee? Just curious.
Do what?
He said he's keeping these vanities. He's going to paint them.
Going to paint it out,
He
yes.
says because it is a corner vanity. It's hard to find. You kept them before?
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. I'd like to see how he's gonna put it together. I'm sure he can.
Here's where all the action is happening.
Squatters.
Squatters.
Squatters in the bathroom.
This is what they were talking about when they were talking about.
Bedroom here. Looks like that. So they have like a high yellow in here. I'm not mad at the high yellow. They have, looks like they have flat on the walls and probably high gloss or semi gloss there. What do you think, Smitty? Maybe a semi there, huh?
Or eggshell. It goes flat, eggshell, and semi.
Smitty, y'all. Smitty in the building. I like this blue. I don't mind. I'm not even mad at it really. Here's the master.
Hey, this was decorated by an interior decorator.
Well, look, this looks like they leveled this flooring off or something. Did he say?
Yeah, they're gonna put LVP over it.
Oh, okay. This is cool. Round up. Well, thank you for joining us as we hang out here in North Carolina. I will come back to you when we get back to Virginia. Excuse me, my friend. Thank you. I'm here with Jay Connor. If you want to know more about his training, I will put a link in the video description. He is the private money guru showing you how to raise private money to buy your houses. So that's what we use. Oh, let me show you what this looks like. All these people on the buses getting in. Hit that like button, Roundup. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. It's Chris Haskins with the realestateroundup.com. Peace. I guess we gone. We is gone.